Alright, so as requested, you guys wanted to know how I sewed my signatures into these file folder journals, or file folder mini albums, because I turned them into hybrid journals. I made a few different kinds. I made this one, and this one. So the one I will be working with you guys on is mostly this one. I mean, you see a little bit of coloring on this one because I glimmer misted it. So you don't have to actually use the original file folder color. I just want to show you guys really quick if I can find a page. It's not. Yeah, so I changed the color. Just made it like I wanted it to be like a distressed black soot color without distressing the whole thing. So I just, I glimmer misted it before I glued it together. I've done it after I glued it together, but I think it's less complicated if you do it beforehand. So yeah, I will be doing a video share of this one later. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the, just like a quick look at some of the things that I did. Like on this one I have the tabs cut off, and that is how I did this one, and all the measurements are completely even. Everything's like the same in uniform. These ones, the measurements are not the same on every page. Like on this one, the first page and the last page, the measurements are a little different, depending on how you decide to fold your journal. So these two, this one I rounded the edges, and so the pocket, let me see if I can find a pocket here. Yeah, the pocket corner was edged. I didn't know if I could do that or not, and I was like kind of freaking out when I was doing the video because I was like, uh-oh, I don't know if I can, because the measurements for the pockets are the same as in here. I just had to round the corner, which I guess I just made it a little bit more complicated than I needed to in my head. So yeah, it turned out fine. You can round the corners on pockets. So yeah, I will be doing a video share of these journals, but the one I'll be working with, like I said, is this one, and I want to show you guys how to do this journal, well, to sew in the signatures. So I figured while I was doing this, I would just do the whole process of making this, and you guys can watch, and I'll have like notes and stuff. If you have any questions, or if I forgot anything, please let me know, because sometimes I think I have everything in the video and I forgot something. Alright, so I will see you guys in a minute. Hey guys, it's Marina. I'm here to do a share with you, I guess a tutorial of sorts. I'm going to be showing you a few things today. So I made a previous video. My previous video was from the Graphic 45 ABC Primer Hybrid Mini Album Journal that I made using Michelle Mooney's, who is the Paper Addiction. I used her file folder mini album tutorial, which I will have linked below, as well as the video that I did, the ABC Primer video that I did. So I had asked you guys if you wanted me to show you how I put the paper into the album. That way you can see how I put it all together. So I figured I'm going to make some more. And so this time I'm going to use Graphic 45's Steampunk and Spells paper collection, and I'm just going to put it all together on camera, probably fast-paced, and just play some music. And if you don't want to watch it, just skip ahead. All right, enjoy the video. I wrote down all of the measurements that I did and everything that I put in here. So I put a little notepad in here. I thought that would be cute. And what I used for the glue, okay, so for this, I'm pretty sure you could do it without having the file folder, because I use this because of the file folder notches right here. And we have all the measurements. They'll be in the video as well as listed below. So I used Fabri-Tac, and just a little bit, you guys saw that I just rubbed it on the edges, and then I kind of just squished it in between here. I haven't taken any pages out yet, but I'm pretty sure they'll come out if I need them to. Yeah. So, and you saw that I messed up here, and I had the belly band way too low. So make sure you have it up higher and measure it out, you know, how you want to, whatever seems like how you want to do it. And you don't need to put it on this page. If you decide to do this, you don't need to put it on the next page. And because I put this in here, I'm not going to sew anything into this signature right here, or to this area. I put some magnets here, and I put some, the sticky part of a Post-it, I just put that in between. So that way it stays on there, and I can just take it off really easily. And I got that idea from Genevieve, and she's from Genevieve Designs. So that was a really great idea, and so I do that now whenever I use magnets. That way I can get them to stay, and I can easily maneuver my journal. So like I said, I'll have the measurements, because I did mess one up also back here. Not this one, but this one back here. Yeah, I messed that up. I'm just going to leave it on here, and I will craft around it. So it's not that big of a deal, but I fixed that measurement, so I will have the correct measurement in the video while you're watching. I put a long belly band here and a flip here. You also, these are just things that I put in here. I'm going to put a signature in here, that's why I haven't put anything in here. I might change my mind while I'm crafting. I just don't want it to be too bulky, because once you start putting paper on here, you guys know it gets fluffier. So I tried to go a little bit easier on my pockets and flips. So I might put a pocket here, I'm not sure. But yeah, so if you guys want to do your own thing, also, that's great too. I just wanted to give you guys the measurements in case you wanted to do it that way too, or if you want to use some of the ideas, which is totally fine. Now, see, my challenge is why I didn't put anything in here. I put this band in here, but see, I rounded the corners on everything, so I'm afraid if I put my pocket on here and I need to round the corners, it's clearly going to cut the pocket. So, I mean, it'll be fine if I put it over on this side, but for the pockets on this area over here, I'm not really sure how I want to do that. So, that will be something I'm going to figure out. But I thought I'd keep it simple for now, and you guys can use the measurements that I gave you for the folded one. Okay, so I did make another one that I cut off all the file tabs, and I glimmer misted it. You guys saw I glimmer misted it. I'll be doing a video share of that later, and I will give you more details. I haven't figured out what paper collection I want to use for that yet, so I'm just going to stick with this one right now, since this is the one I ended up working with. And so, I mean, you can cut the file tabs off if you want to and make your own, but for me, I like the file folder tab look. I really like it, so I leave it on there. Plus, it gives me more space, and just adds more personality to the mini album or journal. I just like it better that way, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And if you guys want to do it a different way, that's totally, you know, your call. Not a big deal. You can, it's, you know, how you want to make it. So that's how I did those things. I'm also going to stop and show you how once I get all the papers in here, I will come back, because I'm going to craft along sort of in a video, so you guys can see. I don't know, I don't need to measure and cut out all the pages on video, so I'm just going to do that, and I'll glue them in, and then I'll come back and show you how I do the signatures. But attaching these is easy. If you want to attach your own, you can make them bigger. You don't have to make them this size. You can make them a little bit longer if you want to. You can also do it, you know, that way. Like this. You know what? I feel like I need to do one more pocket. I feel like I need to have, yeah, I feel like I want to put a pocket right here, but I want it to look like an envelope. I want it to have like a little flap right here and then a bigger pocket right here. That's what I'm going to do. So,
hi guys,
see you guys shortly.
I'm here to go ahead and show you what I have for my journal so far and a couple of things that I did with a couple of other ones. So, the measurements that I'm going to be giving you for the pockets and stuff is going to be for the way that I did it, and that's by keeping the tabs on. Okay, so there's this one where I took the tabs off, and I will do a video about that later when I make this one. So when I make the okay, let's start with how I make the tags and stuff. I cut them out of the leftover pieces that I have from the file folders. Okay, so I'll cut them out, like I'll make the pockets and the tags and everything that I put in here out of the leftover stuff that I have from when I originally cut the pieces out for the journal. Okay, so this one is the one with tabs that I rounded the edges, and I told you before I wasn't sure if the pockets would work for this one because I had rounded the edges, and they do. So I will go ahead and show you that. So if you do decide to round your edges with the measurements that I gave you, and these are the measurements with your tabs on, okay? So if you make it without the tabs, all the measurements are going to be different. So if you make it with the tabs on, like I did, these measurements will work for your pockets. And I actually want to show you because I told you I messed up this pocket right here. I made it too small. I actually really like how it looks because it gave this effect right here. So my pockets were a little too small, and I actually like it though because it's, you know, not perfect, and so I added just this strip down here, and I think it looks really cool. So this is what I have so far. Sorry, my son's hanging out with us while we craft. Guys, want to say hi?
Hi.
Want to say hi? Say hi, Janae.
Hi.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna like go through the whole thing right now. I'll do a flip through when it's finished, but I'm gonna measure the pages with you, and then so I'm gonna measure out the pages with you because, as you'll notice when you make yours, this page is shorter, so you don't want to make it. I'm actually not gonna put a signature in right here because I have this in here. But I'm going to put a signature here, which this will be the basic measurement for most of the ones that I use because they're all pretty much the same size. It's just the last page and the front page that have different measurements. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to cut them out, cut the pages down, and I only use 3 to 4 sheets of paper because when you fold them in half, it doubles up, and I don't want it to be too fluffy because it's already pretty thick. Okay, so I've measured out my signatures and I put them in, and now I'm going to, so what I like about this part is that I don't have to be neat with my signatures. I don't have to measure them out because they're single signatures and you're going to cover it up anyway. So you don't need to poke holes, you don't need to clip it on, you don't need to do all that unless you really want to. So if you want to measure it out so all of your signatures are uniform, you can do that. I'm going to do mine like this, and if you want to do it that way, you can. So this is how I sew in my signatures for my other journals too, only I measure out my, sorry, my 2-year-old's in here. He's having a good time pulling sheet off my bed. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, okay, so this is how I sew in my signatures. I do the pamphlet stitch, and when you're doing one signature though, you don't have to measure it out. When I'm doing multiple signatures, I measure it out, you know, and make it all look pretty. So this is the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And this is also how you can get envelopes into your signature. So this one, when I have an envelope, or if I make a homemade envelope, I just open it up. And when I close it, I'm going to want it to turn like this. So I put this end right here in the middle of the signature. So I'm going to eyeball this, and when you start your first hole, you go through the middle, you just poke your hole. Silent Hill 2. And then I kind of just center it, and then poke it through. So I'm going to show you. Alright, so this is sticking through the second part that I made. I hope you guys can see this because this is really what, this is how you do it. You don't want to go through the other signatures. You don't want to go through the other signatures because if you're making little signatures on each page, then, you know, that's not going to work very well if you have poked holes through the other ones. So if you want to reinforce it also, you can when you're putting it together. I would suggest putting Tyvek or I don't know, you can do washi tape or whatever you want to do before you glue them together on the spine, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, the signatures are so small. Plus, you're going to have a binding over it when you're finished. So once I have that through the middle, I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to kind of just see where I want this. And if it helps, you can poke it through so you can see it. See where you are. You can poke it through here first. See? And then put it through your paper. Make sure this doesn't come out of the middle. You don't want that to come out. So I'm going to straighten this out. Usually when I want to straighten it, I tighten up my binding. Alright, so you're going to turn it, you're going to face it the right way and have it facing you, and then you're going to poke a hole through the bottom. You can measure it, like I said, you can measure it if you want to, and you can pre-poke your holes if you really want to do that, but I'm just eyeballing it, and I think you get comfortable doing that once you've done it enough. Alright, so it's going to go through the back here, see? I'm just going to pull it through. And so now it's going to look, like this. I think it's a couple of years old. It's got Jon Snow in it. So it's going to look like that. I'm going to flip it over. Don't mind that signature. That's kind of how I craft. I have my signatures in place where I'm going to put them. Alright, so you have 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna put the needle through hole number 2. Make sure you don't go through your thread. All right. So you're gonna want a piece of thread, or you're gonna want your thread, one on each side. So it's gonna be holding this center thread. So you're going to have this sticking out over here and this over here. You can have it either direction you want to. There's no perfect direction to do it. And then I'm going to cut this And you want it like that. And you make sure it's tight too. Not too tight though, otherwise you're gonna rip your paper and your signature and your spine, and it's not good. So once it's like that, I'm gonna go ahead and tie it in a knot, just like that. And if you want to, you can do a second one. I'm using wax thread, so Irish wax linen thread, so I'm not really worried about it. I'm just gonna do it one time. And I always leave a little bit in case something happens and I need to tie it again, or if I need to get it undone, I can do that. So then I kind of just push it down, and because it's waxed, it'll stick down. And then you can go ahead and glue your stuff. Are you having fun, mister? Are you having fun? It sounds like it. Nope. Yes?
No.
No?
Yes.
No?
What's it?
Watch this.
Two.
Achoo? Bless you.
Up top.
I just want to feel like I belong. I want the supernatural.
Alright.
Yeah,
So now you have a signature in there.
does it have 2 in it?
I'm gonna do a second signature, and I will do that with you guys on camera.